Good evening, everyone. Mrs. Curry Allen here. I am the principal at Rise Koyong Elementary School. And tonight I'm giving our final COVID-19 school closure update of the 2019-2020 school year. I fully anticipate that I will be giving these messages throughout the summer to our families so that we can continue to give you updates about what reopening in the fall will look like. But the school year technically ends on June 17th, and so this will be the last message of the school year. We hope that you and your families are doing well, and tonight's goal is for me to share a few things, starting with updates about reopening, looking at end of school year closeout procedures, and a few other pieces of information. Before we do that, though, I just want to acknowledge that we've experienced a lot of trauma in our communities over the past 3 months. You know, I was telling families when we closed our doors on March 13th, I was telling families, we'll be back in a week. This'll last just a couple of weeks and then we'll be back. And I was fully anticipating coming back in April. However, that changed, and it changed very quickly. I want to acknowledge that the global pandemic and the systemic racism impacting our city and country have exposed all members of our community to deep trauma. Regardless of how deeply the global pandemic and systemic racism have affected you, you've all been affected, and it has been traumatic. I also want to state that this has particularly impacted members of our community who identify as Black and African American. At Rise Koyong Elementary School, we believe that Black lives matter, and we are committed to the work of affirming the identities of all of our students, and we look forward to engaging you in the work this upcoming school year. How can we celebrate diversity at our schools? How can we uplift all students? How can we create equity? And how can we really prioritize inclusion within our classrooms? We hope during this time you've been able to prioritize taking care of yourself and your families as much as you can. We know that many of you have gone back to work, and that's made things maybe challenging because you don't have school to rely on for childcare. We hope that we are able to relieve some of that very soon. But I know I am thinking about every single one of you, and I know that this has been a challenging time, and I just want to celebrate your resilience and your strength in this time. So in order to take care of ourselves, we have to reflect how we feel. And so let's take a second and just reflect on the mood meter. How are you feeling today, and what might you need so that you can take care of yourself and your family? So today I will share a few things: updates about school reopening, end of current year closeout procedures, summer supports for our students, and then upcoming events. So unfortunately, I don't have any definitive news about what school will look like in the fall. There are a lot of factors that go into place, and many of those factors are very reliant on a virus and the public spread of that virus. We will have to see what happens throughout the next couple of months to see if we have gotten the virus under control, whether it's spread even further, before big decisions can be made. However, the Superintendent of California Public Schools, Tony Thurmond, released guidance documents that are helping us make our decisions and are helping guide how we will reopen schools. In particular, the documents will help us make decisions regarding health and safety. So how can we ensure personal protective equipment for all of our students and staff? How can we ensure physical distancing? How can we make sure that students are practicing good hygiene? All within ensuring that students are feeling safe, loved, healthy, and happy. How can we change instructional programs to support students who have had who've lost 3 months of core instructional material? How can we make sure that our instructional programs are supporting them? And how can we make sure that our instructional programs can quickly go to virtual learning if something happens in the community and we have to close down schools again? We're also thinking about professional relationships and learning. So what this means is we're thinking about how can we train our teachers to be the very best educators, knowing that students are going to have very different needs coming back in the fall. Students are going to need social emotional support now more than ever. They're also going to need remediation, and teachers need to be well versed on Zoom, Google Classroom, and other platforms to ensure that, again, if we have to go back to full virtual learning, they're able to do that more smoothly than before. We're also thinking about continuity of relationships and learning plans. So how can students step back into a place that their relationship with has broken? How can we make sure that their relationships can be strengthened with their teacher and their students? And how can we create tailored and individual learning plans for each of our kids? We're also thinking about mental health and well-being for everyone. So staff members, students, and families. How can we communicate with our families and the community in a way that is being transparent and very clear, and also gets feedback from you about what is best for your family and for your student? We're also thinking about early learning and care. Students who are under 12 years old have particular needs during this time, because if you are at work, because restaurants and businesses and corporations have reopened, but schools are not, how can we provide childcare for your student? How can we provide early learning support? Because we do know that students in elementary school need much more guidance from adults in order to learn. And then finally, we're thinking about school services. So things like meals, health plans, counseling, transportation, etc. How can we provide those for all of our families? Okay. So we will continue to communicate with you frequently throughout the summer. I anticipate by the end of July, we'll have a very clear idea about what this will look like. And I do want to share that we are anticipating a combination of on-site and virtual learning. And so what I mean by this is that we are planning both of these contingencies. We are thinking, okay, what is the how are we going to create an on-site program? And how are we going to create a virtual program? Knowing that it will be a little bit more time before I have clear answers about what this will look like. We are still waiting on guidance from LAUSD and the health department to make those final calls. If you have any feedback or questions about this, please reach out to me on Parent Square. I'd be happy to answer. So I would like to talk about end-of-year closeout procedures. So the last day for students for instruction was on Friday. Your students had their end-of-year parties this week. And the last day for teachers is technically Wednesday, June 17th. And so what I'm going to ask is that you reach out to myself, Miss Lee, or Mr. JC after that if you have any questions or concerns. The teachers are on vacation starting Wednesday, June 17th. I'm sure if you reached out to them, they would still answer you because they really do work hard. But at that time, the administration will be working. We work throughout the summer. We will send end-of-year report cards out to you. And our report cards were done, if you remember a few videos ago, I was sharing information about how we were doing grading and how we were looking at student progress throughout this time. So the report card will be going out via Parent Square on Wednesday, June 17th. This will be sent to you as a private message. You'll be able to click on it and you'll be able to download your student's report card. It is translated into Spanish, English, and Korean. If you do not receive it for some reason or you are having trouble accessing your Parent Square account, please let us know. And then you'll also see several blanks on the report card because of COVID closure. We will only have grades in phonics and math, but you will see the teacher's final comments about the students. There are a couple of items that have just slashes through it because we've prioritized phonics and math during our small group sessions. On Wednesday, June 17th, we will have a personal item pickup from 9:30 a.m. to 2:30 p.m. So this is for families. And you might be asking, well, what do I need to pick up? What is at the school? So what might you want to pick up? We do have all of the students' extra clothing still. We are going to ask that you come and pick that up if possible. There's forgotten water bottles and jackets. We left very quickly on March 13th. The classrooms still have a lot of student personal items, lunch boxes. We also have graded work that we would like to be able to give to you. There are things that are hanging up on walls that we would like to be able to share with our families. And how will it work? We will have all of labeled student personal items in bags and laid out for you. So if a sweater had a name in it, we'll have it put in a bag with your student's name on it. If it was not labeled, you'll have a chance to look at those items and claim what you believe belongs to your child. So we do know that there are a lot of people who did not put names in their in jackets and sweaters, but you can still look for those. If by the end of the day on Wednesday, something is left unclaimed, we will donate it to Goodwill unless it's clearly labeled with a student name, at which case we'll hold on to it. However, any unlabeled and unclaimed items will go to Goodwill at the end of the day on Wednesday. You might be asking, is there anything that I, as a parent, need to return? And the question is yes. If you have student work packets that have been finished, you should return them. The books do not count. Please keep the books throughout the summer so that your student can continue to practice, but any packets should be returned. And if you know that your student will not be attending RKES next year and you checked out a computer, please return your laptop and its charger. We won't release transcripts until we have that back, and so we do need the laptop and its charger back. If your student is returning with us, you may keep the laptop throughout the summer because we are going to still have our online programs live to be able to support your students' growth if you would like, or if you would like to take advantage of that. Okay, so speaking of the summer, during the summer, we have several different supports in place for our students. So we know that it is very important that our kiddos are still learning throughout the summer. And we have 3 different things that you should be doing with your student. Number 1 is you should have received a book called Kids Learn, Getting Ready for whatever grade it is that your student is going into. And those books are for math and reading. And so your student should be working through those throughout the summer. We also gave you a journal with writing prompts. There's a sticker on the front, and we are asking that students write in that journal every day to continue practicing their writing. And then finally, you will still be able to have access to online learning programs like Splash Math, Reading Eggs, Epic, and Moby Max. And so if you should continue practicing those over the summer. And I'll say this again, the most important thing that you can do with your child is to read with them as much as possible. Epic is a wonderful place to begin. I know that the libraries are still closed and I don't know when they're going to reopen, but Epic has a wonderful collection of online resources for you. We are also very excited that we will be doing summer learning challenges throughout the months of June, July, and August. So each week we'll post a new challenge for you to complete, and there'll be different themes every single week. So maybe one week it's about reading and we ask you to send us pictures of your student reading. Or maybe the next week it's completing a virtual field trip, maybe to an aquarium or to a national park. And so we'll post all of those on Parent Square, and they are part of our summer program to ensure that students are still learning over the summer. Okay. All right, so if you have any questions about end of year closeout procedures or summer support for students, please let me know. And then lastly, I do want to share a couple of updates, so events that are upcoming. So number one is Friday, June 12th at 1 p.m. I'll be doing a presentation on preventing summer brain drain live on Zoom. And summer brain drain essentially is when students aren't in school. A lot of times they have regression in their learning, so they forget some of the things that they learned. And so what are some things you can do at home to prevent that from happening? We've been talking a lot about this lately because of the COVID closures. On Monday, June 15th, we are going to do a virtual kindergarten culmination or graduation live on Zoom. We will send that link out to you either Friday afternoon or Monday morning, and you'll have an opportunity to log in. We are asking that if you only have your immediate family log in, because we have a limit of 100 family or 100 participants. However, we really encourage you to be live. And if for some reason you can't join us, then it will be recorded so that you can view it later. And then finally, Wednesday, June 17th from 9:30 to 2:30 will be the personal item pickup and drop off, which we just spoke about. One more update that we do have is that there is a change to our meal pickup schedule. It will still be Mondays and Wednesdays beginning at 9 a.m. However, they're going to close pickup at 11 a.m. So please make sure that you arrive before 11 a.m. and that starts this Monday, June 15th. You will still receive enough meals for the week. So on Monday, you'll receive 2 meals, and on Wednesday, you'll receive 3 meals. They've just changed the time. And it'll still be held at our school site, so 600 South Lafayette Park Place. Please take advantage of this if you haven't already. It's a great opportunity to grab some free snacks, some free food for the students, and it just helps. Okay. All right, and then finally, I just want to express my gratitude for you all. I will share more during our culmination on Monday, but I just want to thank you all so much for the support, the outreach, the help that you've given us throughout the year. It has been my most challenging year in education, especially with the coronavirus, but our families are wonderful and have done so much to help us be successful this year. You all took a risk with us, joining a school that was brand new. I hope that we've been able to live up to your expectations. I know that the school year hasn't with the coronavirus, but I hope that we have done a good job. And I want to thank you all so much for everything that you've done. If you have any questions or concerns, please reach out to me on Parent Square, and I will be happy to answer those for you. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful evening, and I hope to see a lot of you either on Friday at the family engagement session or on Monday at our virtual graduation. Bye-bye.